What's up, short attention span history nerds? Welcome back to 10-Minute History. Before we get into today's video, I want to discuss a very serious issue a lot of people are facing. It's mental health issues. There is not a single person that hasn't been affected by mental health issues, in one way or another. It may be you, or someone you know and care about that's suffering from them. If you want to be a part of something positive and greatly needed, please help the creators of 10-Minute History help combat this debilitating disease. The 10-Minute History team has put together journals to help record the daily and sometimes hourly battle with mental health. You can do your part by simply purchasing one of the journals or notebooks the team has created. The links to them are in the description box below. 100% of all purchases will be donated to the National Institute of Mental Health. Please share this video and let's help combat mental health issues and remove the stigma that's associated with them. Now, enough of that. Let's talk about the gross yet interesting history of tallywhacker covers. Punch it, Chewy.
Believe it or not, but humans started using condoms around 3000 BC. Back then, condoms were made from animals' bladder or intestines, linen, leather, paper, and let us not forget the weirdest of them all, tortoise shells and animal horns. And if you guessed it was the Japanese that used tortoise shells, you're right. The Japanese figured out how a heated tortoise shell could be fashioned to make a condom. It seemed they heated the shell by boiling it until it was pliable enough to wrap into a cone shape. When the shell cooled, it would reharden. Due to the shell's rigidness, it was also used for older samurais that had issues getting their little katanas up. Luckily for Japanese men and more for their women, the arrival of Dutch traders meant they got access to condoms made from leather. While not ideal, it beats a turtle shell. Now, it was the Egyptians who started the whole willy wrapping business around the year 3000 BC. They wore linen wrap on their little pyramid. It also protected them from having more little king tuts than they could afford. In ancient Rome and in medieval Europe, condoms were also made from linen, but they also used sheep and goat intestines and sometimes the bladder. Neither the Romans nor Europeans of the time used them as contraceptives, since they were basically just cleaned out guts with a knot tied in the end. No, they only used it to prevent the spread of venereal diseases. So, is my video putting anybody in the mood yet? The Chinese civilization was far more developed in condom production. They used tightly woven silk that had two ribbons you had to tie off around your steamed dumplings. But hey, they were the first to consider lubrication in the form of spit or used cooking oil. I'll never look at Hunan chicken the same again. Also, based on the population of China, I don't think silk is a good option. The oldest existing condom is a used condom. That's gross. From 1640 AD and was found in England. Come on, England. Take your garbage out more often. The condom is made from sheep's intestine and was used multiple times by several different men on several different women, according to DNA studies. It turns out that after every use, the condom was placed back into the original container it came in, and in the container it included the original owner's manual written in Latin, which happened to be the universal language at the time. The instructions said men should wash the condom in warm milk to prevent the passing of syphilis. Hear that, guys? Just a little warm milk and you're all set. No need for doctors or pharmacies. Just heat up some 2% from Kroger and you're all set for a night on the town. Now, the first person to write about condoms was Gabriel Flopio, an Italian physician. Side note, the fallopian tubes were named after him. Anyways, in his book, De Morbo Golecchio, which translates to The French Disease, he describes his experiment on 1,100 men who wore linen sheaths for protection against syphilis. The sheaths had to be fastened by ribbon, again around the Italian meatballs, and lubricated once again with spit. How romantic. Allegedly, these sheaths protected all the men in the study from contracting syphilis from the willing, infected participants. Now, Dr. Gallico referred to syphilis simply as the French disease. Doesn't seem like the love doctor was a big fan of France. So why do we call condoms condoms? The most common myth states that the word condom comes from Dr. Condom, spelled C-O-N-D-U-M, who was commissioned by King Charles II in the 17th century to find protection for his sailors and soldiers who were dying from venereal diseases. It appears watching your fellow countrymen die a slow, painful, agonizing death just wasn't a deterrent for these sailors and soldiers. So, Charles commissioned a doctor to figure out a way to prevent them from contracting the disease. Plus, Charles was concerned with the high number of illegitimate children belonging to him from his personal sexual exploits. Now, there's absolutely no records of the existence of a Dr. Condom. It's speculated that the doctor changed his name to escape the embarrassment of his legacy, or some drunken sailors in Charles's military just made up the story and gave the fake doctor a silly name. The French and the English rivalry lasted for centuries. As such, each side wouldn't miss a chance at calling the other out. Condoms were no exception. The English called condoms French letters because during World War I and World War II, condoms were mailed to the men fighting on the front line, but loving on the back line. Since a lot of English soldiers fought in the sexually more liberal France, the name French letter was coined and stuck around for many years. The great Casanova used condoms. Giacomo Casanova was a famous Italian adventurer and lover. He had so many affairs with women that his name became synonymous for womanizing. Casanova was a big advocate of condoms, and he wrote about them in his famous biography, Histoire de ma vie, or The Story of My Life. He used to blow up condoms in front of the ladies to entertain them, and more importantly, to check for holes. Casanova recorded that his female companions found the act both comical and practical. I'd say that Casanova did a great service to France by checking for holes. France didn't need any more little Casanovas running around and killing off their countrymen one venereal disease at a time. However, I'm sure the British would have found that very amusing. Charles Goodyear started the condom revolution. Goodyear is a world-famous tire and rubber company founded in Akron, Ohio by Charles Goodyear, who, in 1839, invented the process of vulcanization, which it turns out isn't Mr. Spock's form of birth control.
About vulcanized rubber.
Spock's birth control.
Thank you, Joy Tribbiani, for that clarification. What it is a process where sulfur and natural rubber are heated together, producing durable rubber with high elasticity and tensile strength. Goodyear's discovery led to the first rubber condom being made in 1855. Rubber condoms were reusable, cheap, and mass-produced. Again, with the reusable condoms. Now, I wonder if he required that the condoms be rotated every 20,000 uses. In 1912, German inventor Julius Fromm invented cement dipping, the process of dipping glass molds into rubber solution, which further sped up the mass production of condoms. He patented this new technique and built a condom empire. However, under the Nazi regime, he was forced to sell the company to Hermann Goering's godmother for a small fraction of the real value. I guess that beats being shot in the head like a dog and Granny getting the business anyways. All you condom lovers owe latex a big thank you. Latex, which is rubber suspended in water, was invented in 1920 by a chap named Frederick Killian. Compared to rubber condoms, which are more like today's bicycle inner tubes, latex condoms are thinner and stronger and have a shelf life of 5 years. Unless you keep them in your wallet, then the shelf life is cut in half, along with your hopes of ever using it. By the way, the first rubber condoms only had a shelf life of 3 months. The London Rubber Company, which was originally a wholesaler for German condoms, became in 1932 the first European producer of the Durex brand condoms. The brand is well known today and leads the market in the biggest share and major improvements to condoms, like pre-lubing condoms and condoms ribbed for her pleasure. Interestingly, during the Great Depression in the United States alone, more than 1.5 million condoms were used every day. Condoms cost the American economy during the Depression around $650 million per year, adjusted for inflation. So, it seems the videos taken during the Depression of all those men standing in long lines may have not been to just buy bread and beans. During World War II in fascist Italy and Nazi Germany, condoms were illegal since governments were concerned about low birth rates. Of course, the black market flourished, leading to Germans at the start of World War II using 72 million condoms a year. In the 1990s, major improvements in laser and latex technology improved the quality of condoms. Polyurethane condoms were made. This allowed those with allergies to latex to enjoy some yum-yum time without suffering from irritation. Durex was the first to produce flavored, colored, and glow-in-the-dark condoms, just in case you got lost. Durex was also the first to launch a website dedicated to condoms in 1997. By 2009, polyisoprene condoms were created, which offered a more natural feel. And Sagami Rubber Industries from Japan produced the world's thinnest condom in 2014 at just 0.01 millimeters thick. Some had dubbed it Wonder Woman's condom because it's almost invisible, a nod to her invisible jet. Now condoms have gone through a huge transformation over the past several thousands of years, from intestines, silk fibers, to leather and latex. Civilizations have always had a way to fight sexually transmitted diseases and pregnancy. Today, condoms are widely used and easily accessible. More than 20 billion condoms are used every year. By the way, the 14th of February is not only Valentine's Day, it's also International Condom Day. So, that's the 10-minute history of condoms. Did you learn anything from the video or find anything particularly fascinating or gross like I did in researching the subject? Let me know in the comments section below. And if you like short history videos with sarcasm and humor, consider subscribing to 10-Minute History. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It means a lot to me and the ridiculous YouTube algorithm. And click the bell so you never miss a video. You never know what my next video will be on, and you might just miss out on one you find really interesting. And just a reminder that if you want to help support mental health research and awareness, and help to remove the stigma attached to it, please consider purchasing some of the merchandise listed in the description below. Again, 100% of proceeds will go to help fund mental health research. And always remember, whether you believe it or not, you are important and valued, and I for one am glad you're here. Until next time.